Hello everyone, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between. Ichiwings here. Today we're going to be doing a tutorial on lighting. I'm going to start off with this photo here. More specifically, it's going to be about like light flickers and lightning kind of effects. So what I'm going to start off with is kind of the most basic one that I use. It's real subtle, I should say. It's real subtle. It's just with the brightness. So I will show you in this layer here. As you can see, I've keyed in the brightness right here. I'll show you what that looks like. Oh, there we go. And like I said, it's real subtle. I'll show you again. And all I did for that was, first off, I made the picture look how I wanted it. I like to play with the contrast, the brightness, mostly to get this look. And then I went in and under the brightness and the effects, brightness and contrast, I started off with a low brightness, and then I pop it up to a higher brightness, and then back and forth to get the flickering. And you'll want a variant in your keys to give a more natural look. But it's basically, as you see, start at 40, 42, goes up to 25, down to 45, up to 35, down to 45, and you just do the up and down type thing. Now what I like to use more than this is this one here, and I'll show it to you. Come on. As you can see, it affects the foreground more, so it's a lot more visually striking effect than just the brightness. And how I created this look is with two layers. The bottom one being the darker one, like we started with just the first example, and the top one, let me find where it is. Here it is. I brightened it up, made it look more like daytime, or very close to. Then the second layer looks very like dark and like nighttime. But you do something similar, but instead of playing with the brightness, as you can see down here, it's the opacity that's changing. And you do the opacity on the top layer. But it's the same kind of effect. This first one was the same as the basic like up and down we were doing, as you see. The second one I did has some pauses in the middle, like right here, where there's a wait in between flashes. And that gives you more of a lightning strike look. Just on the dark keys though, not on the light ones. Otherwise you get like an awkward lasting flash, which sometimes does happen on occasion when you get a close lightning bolt. So if that's something you want to do, you can do that technique, but just with the lights. But I'll show you everything again. Here with just the brightness, oops, sorry, with just the brightness, and then here with the back and forth, and then here with some of the pauses. That one there looks most natural as far as lightning goes. Now the next part I'm going to show you is just with this light here flashing. It's done similarly, but instead of having the whole layer affected on this, it's just a mask. In here, you see where it flashes out back and forth. And there's a lovely light flickering, like if electricity is going wonky. Oh no! But anyway, how I got to look like this, excuse me, there we go, is you'll do a mask around it and give it a little bit of area, because what you'll want to do is a feather look. Because if it's down to 0, you get a pretty stark cutoff. But if you up it, and I put it up to about 300 for this photo, it gives a nice kind of a glow look. which was what I was looking for. I did try to use a couple blurs, but I found that it blurred the middle too, and it didn't look right to me. That going with the feathered mask got the effect that I wanted. Quicker, easier. But once again, like this one, we keyed the opacity. And that's all I keyed for this. Like the other one was opacity. You can go on and key in the brightness and the contrast too, which I didn't do for just this light here, but I did do for the background. If you want to do, like, say, you can do that in the lightning to give it a more visually pleasing look, or if you're going from, like, a transition from nighttime to daytime. Ooh. I find that helps. The only issue I find with that is obviously the lights would not be on come daytime, so there would be some other things I would have to do to play with it to make it look more authentic, if that's what I was worrying about. But here you can see you can do different transitions from night to day, doing something similar, and I'll show you here. This is where I also did the brightness and contrast. If you look at my video I did for the teaser for Paranormal Road Trip, I did some similar techniques to get kind of like the logo part of the video done, where it shows the building with the lightning. This is more or less what I did for that. Now I will go through and do a little bit of a step-by-step with this photo here to show you how you would do that, like a step-by-step look at it. So what I would start with is to copy this photo, kind of hide the top one, and then take this bottom one and go under Effects, Color Correction, and then Brightness and Contrast. And then you would play with this. So what you would do is, for the bottom one, which is the one we want for dark, the dark one, you'll want to down the brightness. So it's kind of like that. And you want to up the contrast a little bit, because you wouldn't see as much if the light is down, if that makes sense to you. So now we'll want to adjust this top one. And something kind of a quick, easy trick to learn is if you want to do a similar effect on another layer, you'll go under Effect in this middle spot here. It's got the effect ready for you to go, so you just click on it and it pops up, so you don't have to go through and find it. So for the bright one, we'll want to up the brightness. Ooh. Well, about there, I think. And down the contrast. Oh, maybe not that much. Maybe about there. So then you've got your two variants for a light flicker. So now that we have both our layers, what we'll do is we're going to go down and key the opacity for this top one. So what we'll do is we'll want to start with it down to 0 or pretty close to 0. So we can start it at 10 or 15 if we don't like it down at 0. We'll bring it about here. Right there. And you'll want to bring it up. Well, we're going to bring it up about here. And you'll want to do varying lengths like I showed you before. Bring it back down. But you don't have to do the same numbers each time. So we just do something similar. This. So that's how we do the flicker. And then to do how I did the lightning with the pauses, I'll go ahead and show you that step by step too. So let's go ahead and have it go back down to a lower. 9 is good. So you'll have it brighten up. Oh, there's good. Come back down. You want to drag it over just a little bit and key it again before bringing it back up. And we'll just bring it back down real quick just so we have a finished loop. So that gives it like a slight pause. Now with the light flicker, that does look a little unnatural because it's not the nature of light flickering. So that is how I make the flickering and the lightning and like going from bright to dark settings and such. Alright, there's one more thing I want to go over before we go today, and that is on the stock images that I use, because the images I use in this project, this one and this one, are images that they're stock images off the internet that are free to use. Let me show you a couple of sites. I like stock free images, as well as Pixabay and Flickr. Stock free images just has a nice selection, but these two, Pixabay and Flickr, are probably my favorite. Pixabay because you have a different variety of way how to look up what you're looking for. That way you don't have to spend so much time looking through and getting what you're wanting. It'll also go in and tell you what kind of license the photo has, so you can use it, or you know how you can use it. It also has a learn more section, so it'll explain to you completely and utterly like what that means, what its Creative Commons means, and it explains it to you. Now, what I really like about Flickr is that you can actually search by license, and then you can use it. It'll tell you if you can manipulate the photo. Right here, it'll explain to you. Like this one says it's public domain because its copyright has expired, and what that means. So some of them you can actually manipulate and use. Some of them you can use it however you want. Some of them you need to attribute the artist, and it'll explain to you everything you need to know in these. And that's what I really like about them, is that if I really find an image I really like, I can go in and figure out what I need to do to be able to use it. And you can also get audio and video, and there's other websites you can just Google those, or whatever search engine you like to use to find those. A lot of your older like videos, like your original likeness, or out to older books like Alice in Wonderland, are all Creative Commons or public domain. You can use those as you will, or you can go on and look and see, and they'll have the copyrights for all those things if you're not sure. So just a little something I wanted to add in real quick to talk about, because it is something that's important if you are planning on doing projects and using stuff that is not your own, or manipulating things that are not your own. That way you don't get into trouble. A lot of this stuff you can use for personal use, like you just want to have, like put it in a project, you're not really going to redistribute it, it's not going to be sold, and if it is going to be put out in the public, you need to, hey, stock images from so-and-so and so-and-so, what have you. So it is a very, very important thing to know and to do, so that you can make proper works of art and you don't have to worry about someone coming back and being all like, hey, this is mine, and you getting in like trouble depending on where the image came from. If it's like a bigger company and whatnot, people can technically sue you over it. It can be a big deal, especially if it's from, like, say you're stealing like the theme song from Harry Potter. I mean, it's gonna be obvious that's what that is, but if you do, they can, like, all the people incorporated with that thing can come and technically sue you. Whoever's got like all the rights for it, they can all, and it's a nasty mess. So I want to thank everyone for watching. I hope this video was helpful, but I hope you can use it in some of your projects, that it's helpful and useful, that you really enjoyed it. And there is another tutorial that I've been planning. It's kind of like expounding upon this technique. It's going to deal with candle flames. I am also working on an intro video, so once I get that down, I can do a little tutorial about some of the techniques I used for that. It's kind of me experimenting based off a couple tutorials I've seen and some ideas I have, so I hope it works. But like I said, if it does, I will be doing a tutorial for that as well. But you can follow me on Facebook, DeviantArt, and Twitter, yes, with the same name that you see here, Ichiwings. And I just want to thank you all so very much and hope you all have a very good holidays, whatever it is that you celebrate, and have a very good rest of your day. Thank you.